Hey guys, welcome to the Macro Trader Update. Today is Wednesday, March 20th. And for today, we'll talk a little bit about the macro catalyst coming up today, which is the FOMC meeting minutes and then Powell's speech afterwards. We'll talk a little bit about the Bitcoin ETF flows, and then we'll take a look at the charts for Bitcoin. And finally, we'll do a little bit of an update on our Robinhood account. So let's dive in. Before we dive into, my thoughts on the FOMC and the Fed meeting coming up, let's kind of take a look at the markets today. S&P 500 is flat at 0% right now and trading at 516. And then NASDAQ, very similar, trading at 438 and again, flat at 0.006. VIX is at 13, so still within this 15 and 12 trading range. And then the dollar and the DXY has been on a little bit of an uptrend, but could be kind of exhausted. Yields and bonds have kind of topped out, and it looks like we're going to be reversing. And then same thing on the 10-year note here as well too. And then gold has been kind of consolidating sideways for a little bit. I'm thinking it's probably going to be breaking out here and then targeting, this 2400 level. And then oil has been, slowly creeping up as well too. So, and it's been up about 0.5% from yesterday. So that's just a little bit of the overall market. I think the main catalyst, and everybody's kind of been waiting, and you can see from some of the updates from today's market, the market is really waiting to see what the Fed is going to be saying and what Powell's going to be doing in his speech. I'm not kind of clear, and we talked a little bit about this for yesterday. Right now, kind of the consensus has been inflation has been getting hotter. So the Fed and the dot plots could see a revision to seeing only 2 interest rate price cuts versus the 3 that is priced in right now. Again, I think this has very little impact. My personal opinion about it is that I think that the market is kind of in a holding pattern for this and waiting to see. But I think most of the news and most of the events that I've been watching is that, and even the options flows have been kind of putting this as a non-event. And so I've sat through a couple of these FOMC meetings and minutes. Some of them kind of swing the market up and down. And what I've realized is what's important is the positioning going into the meetings. So a little bit more about that. I think if the market is bullish and it's been rising and it's been quickly picking up into the meeting, and then we have a hawkish surprise, which means it's just bad news and they're not cutting interest rates or as many interest rate cuts, then I think, we're in for some pain and some downside on the market. But over the last couple of weeks, the last week or so, the market has been trading down to sideways, and I think that's good. So the setup right now for the market is that, the market has been going down and the expectations aren't so high, so that even if the Fed has some bad news and they're not cutting interest rates, I don't think it's going to move the market a lot. But I think what's really important is that if Powell comes out and is neutral or is dovish, which means that the news is better and that he has a good economic look on the economy and inflation is good and the employment is good, that means that the market could rally from this. And that's my base cases. My base case is that we've seen Bitcoin sell off. We've seen a lot of the riskier assets sell off, and we've seen the market trade sideways for a little bit. So I think they've been waiting for this move. And then my base case is that things continue to move higher from here. So that's just a little bit of my thoughts about today's macro catalyst. We'll kind of see how things play out. Again, this might be just noise for some of you guys and who are in this, between the 3 and 6 month time horizon. And again, it's just a noise. I particularly don't trade off of FOMC minutes or event news like this, since it can be pretty much a coin toss, but that doesn't mean that I can't have an opinion about it. But yeah, just my thoughts about the FOMC and how things are going to be playing out today. So I'll be paying attention to that and then just seeing what everybody's thoughts coming out of that meeting is. So next, moving over to Bitcoin, I want to take a look at with you guys is the outflows and for Bitcoin. So the 18th, we had about $150 million of outflows coming from mostly GBTC. And then yesterday as well, too, on the 19th, we had another big day of outflows at negative $326 million, again, all from GBTC. So again, this could have been leading the price in some of the hangover we've seen for the Bitcoin downturn so far. So it's had its worst day since the FTX collapse, and potentially these flows, and then everybody just kind of setting up for the Fed meeting today could have been the catalyst for that. But again, I'd like to kind of take this data trend and see what the data looks like tomorrow. I think we have 2 down days, and the current trend is down. But again, let's see what the data looks like tomorrow, and then we'll kind of make an assessment of what's kind of going on with the flows. But at least for the last couple of days, we've had some negative flows, and we haven't had 2 days of negative flows in quite a bit. And then a little bit of update from DGen News as well too. So MicroStrategy just acquired another 9,000 Bitcoin for $623 million between the periods of March 11th and then to the 18th. So just MicroStrategy has been kind of on a buying spree right now for Bitcoin. I've kind of heard some news back and forth, and we've seen kind of some of the outflows. Again, I think somebody like Michael Saylor and some of these other major players wouldn't be buying Bitcoin right now if we were kind of seeing the cycle top through this. So just kind of wanted to give you guys both sides of the coin and both sides of what's kind of going on. So we do have negative news from the ETF inflows, but then we also do have positive flows from just the fundamentals and other larger institutional players buying Bitcoin and still scooping up Bitcoin as well too. So those are the kind of 2 price actions we've seen. We'll take a look at the the DeMark indicators and the technical side of Bitcoin. And then I'll also want to show you another tool that I use from Wealth Umbrella, just to kind of give you a ballpark of what I think of where we're at in the cycle right now for Bitcoin. Okay, so diving into the DeMark indicators and the technical side of Bitcoin right now. Today, we're actually up 3.6% right now. We're trading at 64,000. So we had this nice bounce here. Yesterday, we went as low as 60,000, and then we kind of bounced back up. And I think that's good. From a DeMark perspective, we have a buy setup of 6, so maybe another 2 or 3 days of downtrend, or maybe even sideways before we have a move up. That also coincides with our RSI. It's really in this oversold territory right now. So looking for a bounce back on Bitcoin. Did add and re-enter my tactical, couple of weeks trade for Bitcoin futures. So we'll see how this bounces off. We have this major support here at 59,000. We didn't get as low as there, but again, just to give you guys an area to kind of look out for. If we break this level, I think that's going to be pretty critical. We'll kind of see how Bitcoin reacts to what Powell has to say today. But overall, I think the trend is still very constructive for Bitcoin on the daily chart right now. We do have some upper targets of 78,000 and 79,000 here on the short term on the upside. And then looking at the hourly, we do have a 9 sell right here. Maybe it's going to be going down and then trading sideways for a little bit. We have some lower support here at the 60,000, and then another major support here at the 56,000 as well too. So a lot of convergence here at the 60,000 mark. So that's a really good level to be on a lookout for. We don't have any upside targets any further than that. So, and then things are getting a little bit oversold, at least on the hourly time frame. Looking over at the weekly, we still have these targets right here for 75,000. We almost broke it there on the week of March 4th, and we hit, like 70,000, 73,000, almost 74,000. So I still think right now we still have a good trend right now. The RSI is right over here and just starting to get to the top of the overbought section. But I think, things can continue to go for Bitcoin. And I think from the weekly chart, things still look constructive, and I don't have any concerns yet for Bitcoin. And then the other tool that I use, really, this is, so I use DeMark for the daily and then the hourly time charts really for trading purposes. I do have another tool from Wealth Umbrella. They have an add-on. It's a paid add-on from Wealth Umbrella for Bitcoin. Basically, kind of what it does is it uses both on-chain metrics as well as machine learning just to kind of give you a signal of what Bitcoin is doing. They do give out signals of when they are out and then when they're in the market here with just some guidances around there. So right now, we're right here. So they divide it out into these different, what we call like different zones. The right here, you see the red zone right now is kind of where Bitcoin is undervalued according to the metrics here, and that it's a good buying opportunity for Bitcoin. And then we slowly move over to the green area. So the green area you see is just kind of a normal price appreciation region. And, this cycle has been a little bit more exaggerated and we've gotten higher of an uptrend here. But generally, the green region is where, you're getting, some upsides. Where all the action really happens and all the fireworks comes out is here in this blue section right here. This cycle, this is where, you get the blow off tops and where we get a lot of more risk. So right now, right here where we're at, I think it's probably along the same lines of maybe potentially this piece right here in the last cycle. So I was listening to another YouTuber, and he also does technical analysis as well on Bitcoin, and basically he's just saying like the local top could be in, which is true, but a lot of it was kind of negative directed, and for me personally, it gave me a lot of negative feelings about it, and then I had to kind of just stop the video halfway just because it was kind of affecting my thought process and what I have for my systems and workflows. So that's what I don't want to do for you guys. Hopefully you guys are looking at this data, I kind of tell you where my opinion is, but then I also show you the data and then give you kind of a full glimpse of what I'm looking at so that you can kind of make some of these informed decisions for yourself. And that I hope that I'm not doing that to you guys and doing the fear mongering or being too bullish. I'm trying to be as neutral as possible while still sharing some of my opinions about things. And yeah, just wanted to kind of share that thought after I watched that other YouTube video. It just made me feel really negative, and that's kind of the opposite of what all my systems say. So all my systems say, you know, we're pretty on a pretty good trend right now, and potentially, yeah, we could have a local top, but I still think there's way more upside for Bitcoin and just crypto in general for this cycle. So again, we're still in this green region. We're seeing some good price appreciation right here. We do have this higher risk, so the blue indicates just some higher risk here, and I think I would be way more concerned when we start topping like this 4 level. So again, I think we might be just trading sideways here and then be breaking out. Again, I'm not going to be worried too much about risk until we probably break the 100K level later, whenever we do that later this year. But still, again, we haven't entered into this blue region yet, and that blue region is next. And as you can see, the blue region is probably the other half of the parabolic move right now. So we just had this half of the parabolic move, so I still think we do have another half to go for this parabolic move. So just a little bit of another insight and another tool that I use. Again, this is for longer time horizon and for folks who don't want to be managing that this much. And then finally, just wanted to kind of give you guys a overview of how our Robinhood portfolio is doing, and then a couple of updates for some positions. So yesterday was a pretty bad day. Yesterday we were down up to $2,700 on our account right now. I think at the bottom of this, it didn't feel good. But again, I'll take a look at the chart of like CleanSpark for you just to see why, you know, we kind of held on and just wanted to really see the market play out. I always tell you guys this, that, you know, technical indicators just kind of remove the emotions for me. And yesterday, the emotion I was feeling was just really negative. You know, we're down so much already. But again, looking at the charts, it kind of gave me a different picture and a little bit more of assessment for it. And I think what charts and technical analysis does is kind of puts a picture, and I'm a very visual person as well too. And it's hard just looking at prices and numbers. And so another way to look at technicals is that it just kind of provides you a visual or a pictorial view of price action, which makes it a little bit easier and takes some of the emotion out. So CleanSpark did do pretty good today. You know, we're up a decent amount on some of our positions right now, and we're about, you know, $3,300 for the portfolio right now. So glad I held through some of that, and then now we're seeing some of the gains and some of the appreciation. And I think this is just the start of the move. We'll talk about taking profits as we get further and deeper into this. But you know, that's the game plan. That's what I'm thinking, anyways. Powell could, in an FOMC minutes and the revisions to the dot plots, could kind of throw some cold water on this. But I think for today, things are doing well because, like as I mentioned, the positioning coming into the meeting was pretty negative. So I think that's bullish signs. We did add some new positions. I bought some AMD calls for 320 for June 21st. Really super high out of the money. I think it's kind of flat. What I thought, you know, I just like the AMD chart. I like the AMD trend. Sometimes you don't actually have to think the price target is going there, and you're just using the price target out there, and as the price appreciates, some of these out of the money calls will actually increase as well too. So I think AMD just has a good run. I think because of the market's been consolidating and trading sideways for a little bit, I just wanted to kind of put this AMD call on. I think I spent like $60 on it, so not looking to see some crazy gains, but just wanted to kind of use it as a sandbox and testing to see what happens if we hold this, and I'll keep you guys updated with how this position goes. The other positions we still have, I haven't made any adjustments to that, but I also added this USO position right now. So for the folks who, you know, don't want to get, you know, a broker for futures, and you don't want to get too involved into futures, but you do want to get involved in the oil trade. USO they hold futures contracts for that. So it's not a buy and hold portfolio or a tool. So it's really a USO as a trading tool. And so buying options on that gives you the same leverage as futures. So sometimes for those who don't have access to oil futures or want to do oil futures, you can always buy call options and just use options on USO as well too as your proxy for oil. I think right now oil is starting to kind of break out. So we bought some $83 calls expiring in July. So again, me personally, I like to give myself a lot of time buffer. Price buffer, I think is, I think the price can vary a little bit, but me personally, I would rather buy more time just to kind of see things play out, and then it'll give us time to exit some of the positions. So just another update right here. We just bought some USO calls for $83 in July. I think this one's down a little bit as well too, but we'll hold on because I think oil, as we kind of continue and we see more economic improvement, I think the price of oil is going to kind of continue. And we'll see how this option appreciates. And also wanted to kind of use it as a learning lesson for you guys as well too. If you do want to get into the oil trade, you can use USO as a proxy. Again, there is what we call carry. So because of how futures work, when you have index or a ETF that holds futures, it actually kind of goes down negatively, or the depreciation isn't a lot, but it does depreciate because you're holding onto futures, and there is a cost to holding those futures as well too, similar to any other products like Bitcoin, Ethereum futures as well too. There is kind of a carry cost that's built into those, and typically people use those as trading vehicles rather than buying and holding vehicles as well too. So just a little bit of an update on the Robinhood account. So I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of what we went for an overview today, and then I hope you guys have a good one trading, and I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.